The rain hammered down on New Concordia's lower districts, turning the alleyways into rivers of neon-reflected filth. Marcus huddled deeper into his threadbare jacket, counting the credits he'd managed to scrape together from returning recyclables. 17 credits, enough for maybe 2 days of protein bars if he was lucky. That's when he heard the crying. It was soft, almost musical, coming from behind a dumpster 3 blocks from his usual sleeping spot. Marcus hesitated. In the 5 months since he'd been on the streets, he'd learned that curiosity was a luxury homeless kids couldn't afford. But something about that sound pulled at him, a genuine distress that transcended language. He found her crumpled against the wet concrete, her lavender skin almost glowing in the dim light. A Zilani, he realized with a start, the 4-armed alien species that had arrived on Earth 30 years ago as part of the Galactic Coalition. Her elaborate silk robes were torn and muddy, and her milky white eyes, the mark of her species' natural blindness, leaked tears that shimmered like pearls. "Hey," Marcus said softly, kneeling beside her. "You okay?" She flinched at his voice, her secondary arms wrapping protectively around her torso. She spoke in rapid Zilani, a language that sounded like wind chimes in a storm. Marcus didn't understand a word, but he recognized fear when he heard it. I can't understand you," he said, keeping his voice calm. He noticed the deep gash on her lower left arm, purple blood oozing steadily. "But you're hurt. You need help." The girl seemed to sense his intent. She reached out with a trembling hand and Marcus took it without hesitation. Her skin was cool and smooth like touching silk. She spoke again, slower this time, and Marcus caught one word that sounded almost human. Healer. Marcus knew of only one place in the lower districts where aliens and humans could get medical attention without questions or proper documentation. Old Man Chen's clinic 15 blocks away through some of the most dangerous territory in the city. "Can you walk?" Marcus asked, making a walking gesture with his fingers. She tried to stand but collapsed immediately, her injured arm unable to support her weight. Without thinking, Marcus scooped her up in his arms. She was lighter than he expected, her alien physiology all elegant bones and graceful proportions. She stiffened for a moment, then relaxed against his chest, all 4 of her arms finding purchase on his shoulders and jacket. The journey was brutal. Marcus's own malnourished body protested every step, his muscles burning from the unfamiliar weight. Rain continued to pour, soaking them both. Twice they had to hide from patrol drones, the city's automated police force that treated homeless humans and undocumented aliens with equal hostility. In a narrow passage between 2 abandoned factories, the girl suddenly gripped his jacket tighter. She made a sound, urgent and warning. Marcus froze, then heard it too. Voices, rough and aggressive, speaking in trade standard. "Boss won't be happy if we don't find her," one voice growled. "She can't have gone far," another replied. "A blind Zilani in this district? She's probably already been picked up by slavers." Marcus pressed himself and his passenger against the wall, barely breathing. The voices passed, and after several agonizing minutes he continued moving. The girl's grip on him had changed, become almost grateful, her head resting against his shoulder in a gesture that felt startlingly human. They finally reached Chen's clinic as Marcus's legs were about to give out completely. The old man took one look at the alien girl and rushed them inside, asking no questions. As he worked on her arm, cleaning and sealing the wound with practiced efficiency, the girl spoke rapidly in Zilani. Chen's expression grew increasingly alarmed. "Boy," he said to Marcus, "do you know who this is?" Marcus shook his head, slumped against the wall in exhaustion. "This is Zaralisa Valanthar, daughter of the Valanthar family. They control half the shipping in this sector." "So her parents are rich?" Marcus said. "Good, they can pay you for helping her." Chen laughed, but it was tinged with fear. "Rich, boy, her father is Kalen Valanthar. The Zilani mob controls everything from narcotics to weapons trafficking in this part of the galaxy. He's been tearing the city apart looking for her since she was kidnapped 3 days ago." The blood drained from Marcus's face. "Mob boss?" Before Chen could respond, the clinic door exploded inward. Massive Zilani guards in combat armor poured in, weapons drawn. Behind them strode a figure that made even the guards look small. Kalen Valanthar himself, his 4 arms adorned with rings that probably cost more than Marcus would see in a lifetime. Marcus threw his hands up, certain these were his last moments. The guards seized him roughly, forcing him to his knees. Zaralisa cried out, struggling to her feet despite Chen's protests. She spoke rapidly to her father, gesturing urgently toward Marcus. Kalen's expression, alien and unreadable to Marcus, seemed to soften. He approached Marcus, and for a terrifying moment the boy thought he was about to die. Instead, the mob boss placed one massive hand on Marcus's shoulder. "My daughter tells me you carried her 15 blocks through dangerous territory," Kalen said in perfect English. "You protected her from my enemies and sought help when you could have simply taken her credits and left her to die. You, a human child with nothing, gave everything to save her. She needed help," Marcus stammered. Kalen's laugh was like distant thunder. "Humans, always surprising us with your incomprehensible compassion." He pulled Marcus to his feet. "You will be rewarded, young one. Name your price." Marcus looked at Zaralisa, who was smiling despite her obvious pain. He thought about the 17 credits in his pocket, about the cold alley that served as his home, about all the other kids on these streets who had even less than he did. "I want to help others like me," Marcus said. "Kids with nowhere to go. Aliens and humans who fall through the cracks. Can you help me do that?" Kalen stared at him for a long moment, then burst into laughter. "A human child dictates terms to a mob boss. Incredible." He gripped Marcus's shoulder tighter. "Done. You shall have your shelter, your resources, your protection. And in return you will teach my daughter about this strange human concept of helping those you do not know, expecting nothing in return." As guards escorted them from the clinic toward vehicles that probably cost more than the entire district, Zaralisa took Marcus's hand in one of hers. Through Chen, who was being paid handsomely to translate, she said, "Among my people, one who saves a life becomes family. You are my brother now, Marcus of Earth, and the Valanthar family protects its own." Marcus looked at his muddy reflection in the vehicle's polished surface. 12 hours ago, he'd been a homeless nobody with 17 credits and no future. Now he was the adopted brother of an alien mob princess and had apparently just negotiated a charitable foundation with one of the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. He started to laugh and couldn't stop. Only a human, he thought, could accidentally stumble into this kind of absurd situation and somehow come out ahead. The galaxy had no idea what it was dealing with when it came to humanity's particular brand of chaotic compassion. And somehow, Marcus suspected that was exactly how humans would eventually win them all over. One impossibly reckless act of kindness at a time.